Hello YouTubers, today we're going to make a delicious tiramisu layer cake. Now I know some of you were probably expecting the cake for our LED lightsaber cake topper that we made last week, and to be honest, so did I. But I had a little accident and I spilled water on my laptop keyboard and kind of fried it. So it took me several days to find one, get it shipped, and get it installed. So a little behind on that. We'll try our best to get that out next week. But I wanted to bring you this tiramisu cake. It's easy to make and it is delicious. Let's get started. To make our cake, you're going to need a white cake batter. This is just a white cake mix. Be sure to check out our video on how to make a cake mix taste more homemade. There'll be a link in the description, or you can click up above. You'll need a large bowl and 1 tablespoon of instant coffee powder. Let's whip up our cake. I've put half my cake batter into this bowl, and to that I'm going to add my instant coffee, and we're going to stir that in. It does take some time for the coffee granules to dissolve in your cake batter, so I found if you just let it set for a few minutes, they will start to dissolve. You don't want to over stir your batter. I've poured my batter into 2 prepared 6-inch cake pans, and we're going to bake it at 350 degrees for about 40 to 45 minutes until a toothpick inserted into the center comes out clean. While our cake's baking, I'm going to make a coffee flavored simple syrup. It's very easy to make. To a saucepan, I'm going to add a half a cup of sugar and a half a cup of very strong coffee. I'm going to take this over to the stove and cook it on medium heat, stirring constantly until it reaches a rolling boil. That's all there is to making a simple syrup. Now we're just going to let this set and cool completely. While our cakes are cooling, we're ready to make the filling for our tiramisu cake. Now, traditional tiramisu calls for mascarpone cheese, which is really pricey. So this is a great substitute to get a similar taste. What you're going to need is 2 8-ounce cream cheese, 5 tablespoons of sour cream, and a half a cup of whipping cream. I've put all my ingredients into my mixing bowl, and all we're going to do is beat this until it's a nice smooth consistency. And that's all there is to making our filling. I'm going to wrap this in some plastic wrap and put it in the refrigerator until we're ready to put our cake together. Our cakes have cooled. I leveled them and cut them in half. This is our coffee flavored layer and it smells incredible. But we're only going to use one of our coffee layers for our cake. The other I'll save for a snack. Now we're ready to put on our simple syrup. But before we do that, tiramisu's got to have a little bit of liquor in it. Typically you use brandy, marsala wine, or rum. I'm using a dark rum, and I have a tablespoon here, a generous tablespoon, and we're going to stir that in. Now to put the simple syrup onto our cake, I'm just going to drizzle it all over my cakes. Now I'm going to let these set for a little bit and let them absorb up our simple syrup, and we'll be ready to put our cake together. We're ready to put our cake together. I had a little brain fart in the last segment, and I put our simple syrup on all of our layers when we're only going to use one of the coffee layers for our cake, but that's alright. It'll be even better with a cup of coffee later. So to start stacking our cake, we want to start with one of our white layers, and we want to start with the one that's the bottom. This was the bottom of that particular cake. And then we're going to layer on some of our filling. And we'll just use an offset spatula here and spread it out. Next, we're going to put our coffee layer on top of that. And put another layer of our filling on. And then finally, we'll top it with our other white layer. Now that we have our cake stacked, we're ready to frost it and add some final touches. To frost our cake, I made some of our stabilized whipped cream frosting. It was one of our earlier videos. I'll put a link to that in the description, or you can click up above again. And we're just going to frost the entire cake with our whipped cream frosting. To finish off the cake, you're going to need some unsweetened cocoa, a strainer, and some chocolate. I have some chocolate dallies here that I'm going to use since I've already had them in my cabinet. You could use chocolate bars, put in a food processor, or make chocolate curls to put on top, whatever, but you need to add a little bit of chocolate. Let's go ahead and add our finishing touches. I put a little cocoa powder in my strainer, and I'm just going to sprinkle that on the top of our cake. And lastly, we're just going to sprinkle on our chocolate dallies. And here is our completed tiramisu cake. It's absolutely going to be delicious. We'll cut a slice out here in a moment. You can get as fancy with this as you want. Our stabilized whipped cream frosting is pipeable, so you could put some rosettes on the top and a border around, whatever you want to do. Let's go ahead and cut this puppy open. And here you have a slice of our tiramisu cake. You've got the really cool change from the white cake to the cake flavored with coffee. It's really rich and delicious. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please join our channel. Please leave us some comments as well as what you'd like to see in the future. We're here to make what you want to see. Hope to see you back again soon.